Hey guys, Graham here, and welcome to Traditional Flash. Now, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be drawing some old school roses. Really traditional, really simple stuff, just the basics. I might do one more slightly advanced one at the end to kind of show you how the basic principles that I'm showing you can be used on more advanced roses as well. But if you're having trouble drawing roses, you just want to get the basics down first, practice them, get them in your head, the basic ways of drawing it. There's kind of probably 3 basic traditional roses that are quite common. I'll show you all those, and then I'll do, like I say, one more advanced one. What you want to start off with is what looks like a giant Lego brick, but it's actually just an inner circle and an outer circle. It's kind of just guidelines for the rose. So you want to sketch these out. They don't have to be accurate or that neat, as long as like the distance is about right, the same as these. And I'll put this template up in the description as a download, so you can just download it and print it out and practice on it. They're light red, so you'll be able to see the pencil easy. And if you don't want to do that, then just draw them out and it'll be exactly the same. It's just you're not going to be able to see it quite as easy against the pencil when you're drawing. But eventually you won't need the circles, you'll just be able to draw them. I'm just doing it to show you where everything would be inside these circles to give you a kind of better idea. So let's get on with the first one. Okay, so the most basic traditional rose is probably one that kind of looks like this. So you want to start off, just come in, not quite from the centre, a little bit off, and bring in a kind of S shape round. Maybe a little bit wider at the top. Just kind of like that, bring an S shape through it. And then bring this round and just close it here. So kind of a sort of wideish sort of balloon shape. And bring it around to the bottom. And then you want to add a couple of little kind of, I don't know what these are called, bits like that. And then you can come in and join the lines up like this. And that's the basic centre, and an old school thing to do is just put little kind of M shapes in the centre, like little petals in the middle. And I always start off by drawing the bottom petal first and underlapping all the others from that. So just do something like this. I like to put little kind of wobbly sort of shapes in the petals, makes it a bit more interesting. The next petal probably can just come off pretty much from the side of it and bring it back in. Same on the other side. And you don't have to worry about being too symmetrical, because it's a rose. It's not exactly going to be symmetrical in real life, is it? And old school, you don't have to be too neat with it. It kind of looks better when it's a bit rough. So that's kind of basic sort of. One of the simplest sort of roses you can do for old school. And this is what it looks like when it's completely lined up. So here it is, pretty simple, basic rose, and that's kind of like the sort of staple of old school roses, really. Right, the next one I want to show you, it's really simple again. Just kind of put a line across the centre, maybe arch it a little bit. Okay, that wasn't very straight, but it doesn't really matter. And just kind of bring a line in, put a couple of bumps in it. And from the centre of that, bring another one out, a couple of bumps in it, same as before. These are quite common, and they look really good as well. Okay, as before, a couple of M shapes in the centre. Do one more, just to fill up the circle. And what you want to do is you want to get this line, and you want to kind of bring it in a bit. So it's kind of, well, that wasn't a very good example, but yeah, kind of like that. So when you bring this line out, it's not matching up exactly to it, because I like to kind of give them a little bit of an overlap, if you see what I mean. And same again with the leaves, really. What's a different way of doing petals that'd be better to show you? There's not really too much variation on them. I mean, you can make them a little bit more angular. Out the line, a bit more angular like that. That can look pretty cool sometimes. See, it's pretty much the same as before, but just a bit more. When you get up to the top of a line, bring it back in a bit sharper. And this is what this one looks like when it's done. Okay, so here's the second rose, and as you can see, slightly more angular leaves, kind of gives it a different feel. And this isn't too traditional, it's kind of a bit more of a kind of modern version, I guess, but it still looks old school, and I think they look good. And you can kind of do different versions of them, like the rose I'm going to do next, and that's a more old school version of this basically. Now these are all pretty similar, as you probably gathered, but this is another variation. So start the line in the middle this time, bring it up to the edge, overlap, and put a little shape like that in. And same on the other side, but maybe start it from further in. And join these up. Join it up to one side first, and bring the other one round so you've got a bit of an overlap on it. And yeah, M shapes again. That's pretty much how all of these were finished off. There's a kind of twisty one which I'll show you next actually. Maybe a couple more in this one actually, that would look good. And I put 6 leaves on the other ones, but try 5 on this one, just make them a bit bigger. I usually put 5 or 6 leaves on most of my old school roses that I'm doing like this. Okay, and this is how this one looks when it's done. So here it is, and yeah, it's just basically a more old school version of the last one, like I said. And yeah, I think it looks good. It's kind of Sailor Jerry style, this one. He did one pretty similar to this. Okay, and the last super simple rose I want to show you is a variation of this first one. So what they used to do quite a bit, if I can get this in the centre of the camera, is they used to kind of swirl the centre sometimes. So it's basically the same sort of S shape as before, but you bring this round and you kind of swirl it in like that, and bring this edge out again as before, round to there, and then put the kind of lip bit on here. So let's darken that up a bit so you can see it better. And then what you do with that is you kind of bring this line down, and this line down. And that's a pretty traditional way of doing one of those. They're quite common in old school flash. And the petals would be pretty much the same. I'm going to make the bottom ones bigger this time, make them a bit wobbly. Go for 6 again on this one, just make these top ones smaller. There's no hard and fast rules, but yeah, that's that one. I personally don't like these as much, but that's they were drawn a lot, and yeah, they're pretty stylized, so they're kind of cool. And this is what this one looks like when it's done. Okay, so here it is. And like I say, I don't really like these ones as much, but they are really old school, and when they're drawn up properly and they're painted, they do look a lot better. Just basically pretty simple rose, but different version of the first one, which is basically the most simple one, the most common one. But yeah, I mean, if you search tattoo flash on Google, like old school tattoo flash of roses, then it'll come up with mainly these rather than any of the other ones. They were probably the most common way of drawing them, and you're bound to have seen these before if you've actually looked into old school at all. But yeah, on to the next one. Okay, and as for getting more advanced with this sort of thing, you can do stuff like put this kind of more off to the side. Maybe add it, make it a bit more sort of squiggly, bring it out a bit more at the bottom. Add another one in here. Sorry about that noise, if you can hear that. Got my window open, there's loads of traffic going by. And then kind of start adding some M shapes, but make them a bit more random. So it's the same principles, but adding a bit more interest to it and getting a bit more complicated. And again, the centre just going up to that outside line. And a big sort of petal at the bottom. Add a few more sort of jagged bits in this one. And bring it back in. up here to build this top up a bit. Like I say, there's no rules, you can just kind of do what you want, but you know, it's kind of obviously a bit more of a complex sort of rose, and I might change this a little bit, and also you can put, you know, like little flicks on them, like, you know, like these bits, but you know, around the edge, and that looks pretty cool sometimes. I like to do them from the bottom, kind of fading up to the top of the leaf, because it kind of gives the impression that it's curling around from the bottom. There. Maybe a couple in the centre as well, just to add a bit of interest. Break it up a bit, and yeah, this is what this one looks like when it's done. Okay, so here we have it all finished up. You know, I went a bit crazy with this one, but it's just basically to show you can do different things with the same principles and still get loads of different results. You know, just go off on do whatever you want really. I mean, there's no hard and fast rules like I keep saying. But this is just an example of what you can do. I added a few leaves and some other stuff to it to just kind of show you how it can look when it's finished, complete line work. I think it turned out well. I actually really like this one. I might paint it up. But yeah, so that's that one. Right, so that's it, the basic 4 roses and an example of what you can do if you kind of expand on those basic principles. But if you nail these, you get these down, you can churn these out all day long. Just the same as with the swallow video that I did last time. By the way, if you haven't seen the swallow video and you want to see a drawing tutorial on how to draw the line work for swallows, I'll link that in the end of this video in the outro. And yeah, I hope this helped you out, guys. If it did, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up, it really helps, and subscribe if you're not already. And I always reply to all my comments, so if you have any suggestions for future videos, any questions you want to ask, then just stick them in a comment and I will reply. And other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all soon.